Hey, Cleaning Nation. I am joined here by Kristen Smith. She and her amazing husband, Thomas, joined us for the last live event in Temecula. And we just absolutely love them. Their energy and their dynamic was just such a joy to be a part of and to get to meet them. And we just had such a wonderful time meeting them that I just wanted to continue the party and ask Kristen how she was doing and her experiences with the live event. And so let's just get right into it. Let's talk about a little bit about how your life was before we met. So, kind of get into your business and how that was before you attended the event or found us at Grow My Cleaning Company.
Yeah, of course. Well, actually, about 5 years ago, I was working at a bank and I was laid off from my position due to the banks merged. So my position went to the tellers. And I was like, I could go to banking, I could do something else. And Thomas said, well, what are you good at? And I said, well, I do know how to clean. I've been doing it for a long time. So he goes, why don't you try and figure something out with that? So by the grace of God, I found an ad. We have this little thing called the Clam Digger where we live in Anacortes. So it's like all the local companies will put ads in and coupons and stuff like that. And I had found a little description of this lady looking for a cleaning apprentice. And I went, well, that's handy. So I ended up calling her. She said she had somebody. 2 days later, she calls me back going, well, that didn't work out. Come clean with me. I'll see if you're any good. So this gal was in her late 50s, early 60s. I could tell she was getting ready to retire and had clients that she wanted to eventually give to somebody else. And so I apparently blew her away with how good I was at cleaning, right? So at that point, she ended up just giving me her clients. And so I just started cleaning and I worked really, really hard and I started getting more clients. But I got to a point where it was like, okay, now I've got a full schedule. My husband's working and he's unhappy. So he finally gets laid off from his last position and goes, well, let's just go full time. And that's where we got stuck because we both realized that as entrepreneurs, we're like, well, we don't want to be cleaning and working and grinding for the rest of our lives. There's got to be a better way to do this. And so I think I actually just Googled how to grow my cleaning company. And then I saw this goofy guy who's like, I clean, I can teach you how to do that. And I go, really? So I was like, are you that's my first question. So I started snooping around and listening to some of the podcasts, and that's when I heard about the live event in, I think in Florida or something was the first one I'd heard about. And I go, man, if they come over to the West Coast, I was like, we're doing this. And then boom, I heard Temecula, California. And I went, Thomas, we're going. So we've had booked the rental car ahead of time, even before we had the call with you guys, because we were just determined to make it happen because we had no idea what we were doing. We were like a car in neutral in the mud, just spinning our tires going, I don't know what to do. How do we do this? But we had the spirit to grow. So hopefully that was a good enough a description.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's great. I think I could be mixing you guys up with somebody, but I remember Mike was doing an interview with somebody because obviously we want to talk and make sure it's a good fit.
Of course.
And he had said, I just got off the phone with somebody and they were like, I already got the tickets on the bus, so I'm coming. Like, that's it. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, let's just hold on. Let's slow it down just a little bit and see what happens. But I think when he got off the call, he was like, "These people are amazing. I cannot wait to meet them." So he was really excited about it. So that's super cool. Um, that's awesome. And you had said that you guys were like a car stuck in the mud, spinning your tires. Kind of what was that last straw? Like what kind of pushed you over the edge to like, okay, let's just make this happen.
In terms of going of kind of making a change, it was really coming down to wanting to spend more time with my daughter. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and needing more money because we don't live in a town where you can get by on minimum wage. You have to have a higher level of income if you want the level of living that is offered here. And so to me, that was just the final snap. I'm like, I got a kid that I've got to I got to take care of, and I got to make sure that she can eat and have clothes and eventually go do things. The older she gets, the more stuff she's going to want to do. And what does that cost? Money. So that was really it for me, I guess, as a mom, was money and my kid.
That's a great example. Yeah, I mean, like I think a lot of people do that, like where they start the businesses with their cleaners, and then they move to business owners, and then they realize, great, now I have no life, and my business is my baby, and my baby doesn't even know who I am anymore. So I totally get that. That's fantastic. And then typically we ask like, how did you find us? But it sounds like you just Googled and found Mike being goofy and sharing, kind of his experience. And you guys were like, yes, I would love to be a part of this goofy guy. Let's do this.
I'll have to say it was the no commies that got me hooked. No, the little bullet list, he goes, no commies. I went, sold. That was it.
That's true. We've tried this with commies and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. People try to.
Why?
Yeah, it's so strange. It's weird. We also tried offering extra asbestos, but people really weren't a big fan of that either.
Yeah, no, I don't think, I don't think it's out.
Well, awesome. Well, okay. So tell me kind of like what the event was like for you guys and kind of what that transition process was like, kind of getting there and kind of what you expected and then what really happened and kind of your experience.
Absolutely. So I had went down there and saw some family ahead of time. So I was walking into the event. I hadn't seen them in almost 20 years. So I was going in high, high as a kite, right? I was full. My heart was full and I was like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to expect. But we showed up first, right? Totally caught you guys off guard. But I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm early. Let's do this. I'm ready to help. What can we do, right? So that was pretty funny. So I actually didn't have any expectations other than I knew we were going through the clean profit method, and I have to say the whole event was 100 million times better than I thought it was going to be. The whole group that ended up, they just kind of started coming in, and then we ended up doing the live call and everything. I just started getting a feel for people, where they were sitting, how they were kind of acting towards everybody. But it was after that when we started to actually start talking and getting to know everybody, it was amazing. And we all had things in common, even though we lived in different places and we're all different. We all came together for one purpose, was to grow our cleaning company. And that camaraderie, just like, I don't know, we just all became friends. And so just through the process of going through the live event, I learned so much that I'm still, working on implementing things and going forward with it all, because it was so much good stuff. It was like, I got to just hold it and keep it in a bottle and keep it forever. But by the time it was over, not only did we learn a bunch and make a bunch of new friends, which was great for us because we live, like I said, in a place where there's not a bunch of people our age. A lot of them are kind of older and retired. And it's hard to make friends when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, but everybody else is either like they are like their job, or they're just kind of like this or whatever, stay-at-home moms. I'm like, well, I'm not that either right now, so we don't really click there. And oh gosh, it's so hard to put into words, but the live event meant everything to me. Is essentially how I can say it. I don't know where I would be if we didn't go. It was absolutely life changing.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad to hear that, because that's a big part of it, right? Like people just have a very hard time finding people that they can relate to, that are going through the same things. And that's kind of really one of the, I wouldn't say the main focus of the event, but certainly one of those things that we really try to encourage and cultivate, is having that support system of other people that are going through the same struggles and the same frustrations and the same wins, right? Like if you go to your friends and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I set up a funnel and now I've got, 5 new people coming to me every week and I just send out bids and it's all automated. And they're like, cool, like pass the beer. They don't get it. But you share it with other people that have gone through the live event or the Clean Profit program, and they're just like, that is amazing. Oh my God, let me see your funnel. And oh, I did this and I added this video and I just totally love it. That's really one of the best parts that I think for the event. And then you and Thomas were awesome. You were brave enough to volunteer to video one of your core value videos at the event in front of everybody. And that, I mean, for me, that's my ultimate fear. Like if there's any kind of like live event where you have to be up in front of people, like I get the shakes and sweats and I'm like hiding behind the curtains and like just don't like being in front of people. But you were like, dang it, I am just going to do it. And, there's Mike like kind of shoving you out and like putting the camera in your face and asking you ridiculous questions. And we're all cheering you on. It was crazy, but it was super fun. And you guys made an amazing core value video that I'm going to try to tack on at the end of this, because it was just, it was so cool and so much fun. And it also shows like kind of like, you guys were just ridiculous with everybody else there, which was like, we went to bed because we were just done at like 9:30, 10, and you guys were out pool like partying. You got like animal costumes and glow in the dark like glasses and like all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was super fun. um, unbeknownst to us that we were sound asleep. You guys just kept going, and it was so much fun. Have you whatever happened with that video? Have you posted it? Like, have you got any responses, or kind of like how did you use that video?
Yeah, we're planning on going ahead and using it once we have our funnels and stuff. My biggest thing I'm still working through is understanding online advertising. So I'm starting to pick up some pieces. So we're going to start actually using that with our funnels as soon as we get those 100% set up, because we're in that funky process. But one of the things absolutely that helped the best was when we started raising rates. If because I know I talked a lot about the camaraderie and stuff with people, which to me is like really important, because I feel like if I'm not alone, for some reason, it's easier for me to get through stuff. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that's like that. But in terms of raising rates and dealing with our customers, and all of the verbiage that Mike helped us use and understand really helped me, because I'm big on saying, okay, well, I don't want to say the wrong thing to these clients that I've worked with for years, that I've built this relationship with. I just go, "Gonna raise prices, Kay." You know? So he really helped with that, and so we've lost a couple, but it's not so much of a loss on our part, because we gained one client that literally doubles our income from actually doing it properly. And it's just, it blew my mind, and I go, oh my gosh, this works. If everybody just listened to Mike, everybody would be so his new tagline used to be, why doesn't everybody just listen to me?
That's the next book.
Oh yeah, but as soon as I get those things online, I'm going to start using that video everywhere. I absolutely loved it, and I just couldn't believe that other people wanted to be in our video with us, and then ended up using one of them used her costume in her video, and then used us at I think it was Karam. He like used all of us at the end of his video, which was just great. So I'm really happy that I was able to help and impact other people too, as long as with helping us. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. And honestly, your guys' niche is so cool. Um, I would love to hear a little bit more about it, and kind of what your life is like now versus like before. So kind of like the transition that you guys have made from what you were doing before to raising prices, and to kind of really drilling down your niche. Like, how has that kind of worked for you guys?
Absolutely. So in the beginning of everything, it was all the same, because I had no clue otherwise. It was like, okay, we're just going to be the best cleaners, but we're going to like try and be a little more high class, and blah blah blah. And so when the gal that was giving me clients, she calls me up one day and goes, hey, I've got this guy. He's really gruff. I can't deal with him. So, and they've got dogs, and I'm allergic. And I was like, okay. So I come walking into this house, and there's like this 6'4" super tall guy, and he's like, he's a big dude, right? He's like staring at me. Three giant mastiffs, okay, the 200-pound dogs that'll like be here. And I'm alone going, okay, I'm going to clean this 2-story house with these giant dogs. And so he goes, you don't lock them up. You don't do this. You don't do that. I've had cleaners in the past that have been, done this, this, and this. And these are our babies. And, my wife would kill them. And, just like going off. And I go, okay. So being like the squeaky person I was 4 or 5 years ago, who's about that long I've had these guys. And I go, okay, I can do this. But then he starts to loosen up when he realizes I'm not much of a threat. To this,
Well, you are very intimidating.
I,
Let's just be honest.
right? But yeah. So years go by, right? And they are now our best friends. Like our best client friends. They invited us over for Thanksgiving. They've given us stuff, which was funny, like a brand new dining table that they didn't want. They're like, here, have this table. And I go, I needed a table. Thank you. And in exchange with that, it wasn't like we did anything special. We just started taking care of their dogs, because we understood in the very beginning that their dogs are their kids, and they work a lot. So when we were there, we'd freshen their water, we'd pet them, we'd let them out. We just started doing it. And so Thomas would come, because he loved dogs, and this was while he was still working when we started. And so he would come whenever he could, and he ended up becoming friends with the husband. And then the wife finally moved back home, because she used to work really far away and stayed out for weeks at a time. So she got a newer job, and so I started connecting more with her. And And so then we started like kind of watching the dogs, and then I go, okay, Thomas, we can't. It was right before we met you guys, and I'm like, okay, we can't be doing everything. We've got to start narrowing down how we work our business. And he goes, okay, well, we can't do the dogs thing anymore. We're like, okay, we can't do that anymore. We're just going to be there the day we're there. We can't do anything outside of that because we're trying to grow our cleaning business, not our dog watching business, right? And so when we told Mike all of that stuff, he goes, well, you do that. The pets are great. You love pets, and I loved it because my middle name is Joy, and our company is Joy Cleaning. My daughter's middle name is Joy, and animals bring you joy. So in my mind, it all kind of clicked when he just said, use pets, that's your niche, and I go, okay, I can do that. So now we're going to be re-implementing those things, because that's what brings us joy. That's what brings other people, so it worked, and we didn't even do it on purpose. It was just kind of laid out in front of us. And I'm really glad I took that client, because he was scary in the beginning, but now they'll come to bat for us just like we do for them. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah,
That's
I hope I
awesome.
answered your question.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so it kind of sounds like you guys are just moving more into kind of what you really feel is like a more of a core value fit, right? Like you're like, we love pets, we're very joyful, we enjoy doing the work, we like working with people that we actually like. Um, and so that for you kind of emotionally has got to be pretty good, right? Like just kind of feeling like in your place. Like we don't just clean, we do these things that we're super passionate about. We really love the people that we work with. So I think emotionally for your business, that's been probably pretty beneficial. As far as like making that transition, like before you even came, like I'm sure you just Google grow my cleaning company and you find this crazy guy on the internet. You must have had some kind of reservation, like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of people out there, selling snake oil. Like, did you have any concerns like going in, like this is going to be terrible, or kind of what was you going through your mind in that time?
you know as weird as it sounds, I tend to try and listen to my intuition. I don't know if it's a woman intuition or mine or whatever, but I can kind of feel people out. And even though it was through the internet, I listened to a couple podcasts. I listened to Mike's voice. I listened to how he interacted and how he talked to people. And then I saw his goofy face, and I go, he doesn't look that scary. And I go, this is right. And I could tell just because of his core values just bled through his homepage, right? And I was like, I agree with him, and I see where he's coming from, and I go, I'm right there with him, and so was Thomas. And I go, this guy, he's right on the money. And I went for it. I just said, okay, I trust him, and I went for it. Right, even before I even talked to any of you guys, something told me, God, something, my intuition just said, this is where you need to go, and I said, okay, and I just listened, and I'm so glad I did.
We are too. That just having you guys in the group and having you guys at that live event, you just brought such like this energy, which is just contagious. Like, I mean, we love everybody that we work with, but we certainly have people that are just like these. They just exude energy and positivity and like this can do attitude, and you guys just exemplify that through and through. Um, yeah, no, thank you. I mean, really, it's just been such a pleasure to get to know you guys, and I mean, just we're excited to see kind of what happens and how that grows. Uh, and it's only been just a pretty short time since the event. But you were saying that you wanted more time with your daughter, and you wanted to be able to really kind of get this in tune to where your business is serving you. How is that now? Like since the event, like kind of how has that transition been as far as like getting to that goal?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, the raising rates has really helped because I've already freed up some time and I'm starting to make more money. So that one thing alone, right? Don't be afraid to raise prices, people. It is so worth it because the people that actually want to be with you will stay. And the few that let us go weren't even in our niche to begin with. So it ended up working out to our emotional and money benefit, I guess you could say. So all in all, the transition's been really good. With the piles of notes we have, we've just been using the clean profit method, going through it, using our notes with all the new information we have from the event. And I feel confident for the first time that I can actually do this. I can become a business owner and not just be cleaning and kind of, in it. I can work more on it rather than in it. And I really liked how he explained that. 3 ways you can spend your time: in your business, on your business, and out of your business. And when you're out, you're out. Don't feel guilty, because as moms, we're like, oh, I got to do the dishes, I got to do this, and I got to email this guy back, doing all the little things, right? And it's like, no, separate your time into 3 categories and work with it that way. And I just went, oh, that makes so much sense. Why didn't I think of that?
Well, sometimes it's stuff that we know. We just need somebody to give us that permission to say, listen, this is the balance, right? Like, your life isn't your business. You're going to miss your kids growing up if you don't separate it, if you don't box your time and really make it intentional. And you can't get those years back. So it's super important that we do that. Another fun little thing is, we do work with a lot of people who are husband and wife teams that work together. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is not for the faint of heart. But I would love to know kind of like how how you and Thomas have kind of worked together, and kind of how's that dynamic working. I mean, you guys are stellar examples of that, but I would just love to hear more about it.
Thomas and I met in a really weird way. And so we have, it was online, right? But I'll spare you the details. But long story short, we're both big goofballs when we got together, and then we got married. And we always had this dynamic together when we just clicked, and we could walk into a room and we could be ourselves, but we would just kind of, I don't want to say take over the room, but we would just kind of hold our presence, and we did it together. And I was like, if we can do this one thing, because I had a previous husband, and he'd kind of go away and hide, and kind of just we didn't click, right? And I go, if we can click, then what else can we accomplish, right? We can take on the world together, you and I, right? And so there's struggles, because we're both two separate humans, right? Man and woman, we think different, we do things differently, but all in all, because we can work so well together just in our home life, and with our daughter and stuff, working with our business is just finding each other's strengths, because there's things that I can come up with really good ideas for, we can write about this, and this, but he can like bring it to life and actually write it out. And I'm really good at taking care of some money stuff. Well, he can go out and make those phone calls to raise rates or whatever. So we find each other's strengths and we utilize them. And then try and help each other grow our weaknesses, versus just going, oh, well, you suck at this, oh, well, you suck at that, because that doesn't help anybody. And a lot of, marriages, sometimes they'll bring each other down. So it's all about bringing each other up, focus on the strengths, and make sure that, that to check in with each other, right? And communication, huge. But we learned a lot of that from the event, of what we need to do, because our biggest struggle is, what do we need to do? I don't know. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do all these things. And so Mike laid it all out. And so now, taking each other's strengths, we know what we need to do. We're like, we can do this. We can do it. Yay.
That's awesome. And yeah, again, with working with spouses, a lot of people ask, like, how do you guys get along, and how do you guys not murder each other and drag each other to the desert? And one definitely has to be a lot heavier than the other, because that will definitely quell any sort of like dragging out to the desert scenario.
Yeah, if you don't see me, right, I can't carry him.
That's a survival tactic. They won't tell you that, but that is, they know. They have like this, like, men with working with wives meetings, and they're like, all right, so how can we ensure our safety? It's like, all right, well, we definitely have to be bigger.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing, like you said, is really identifying each other's strengths and playing off of that, right? With Mike and I would be the more creative. He's definitely the plan man. He's incredibly brilliant, but he doesn't like getting bogged down with all the minutia. I'm like, I love the minutia. This is great. So we kind of do that. And then one other really, really crucial tip that we've found is, and this is just like running a business, is checking in with each other. Like we have a set day of the week, and we actually have it on the schedule where we check in, and we literally ask each other, how can I be a better spouse and partner? And you ask it, and you listen, right? And then that week, that's all you do, is you work on that. That's a really, really good way to just kind of know, okay, we're having this recurring issue this week, instead of one of you feeling like, well, I don't want to fight about it, so I'm not going to bring it up. And then it just kind of sits there under the skin and really gets to you. And then it blows up in a month. Okay, well, on Friday at 4 p.m., we are going to have a meeting and I could say, hey, this week, a few times you did this. This really wouldn't work for me. If you could actually, you know, work on that, it would make me feel very loved. And having that back and forth is really crucial to building a strong communication, like you said, and working on not just your marriage, but your business partnership. And eventually your business will flourish from that good partnership, right? Like if you have two
Absolutely.
partners at opposite ends, it doesn't matter how smart or good you guys are, you're just pulling in opposite directions and there's just no way you can reconcile that. So
Mhm.
sounds like you guys are really good on that, and I think it's fantastic that you guys are doing that. That's huge.
Absolutely.
Um,
It comes from a place of love first. Like my husband and I know that we love each other, for forever. And that, from that point, we can go, okay, well, this is constructive criticism. This isn't, I'm mad at you. It's Thomas and Kristen looking at the problem. We're tackling the problem, not you're my problem or you're my problem. So if you just kind of retweak how you think about marriages and, each other, you're tackling the problem. He's not the problem. You're not the problem. This is the problem. This is the attitude or whatever that needs to change. So maybe
yeah,
that helps other people just kind of understand that because somebody explained it to me first because I didn't get it. So I get it.
yeah, it's absolutely that way where it's like it's not like they're trying to sabotage you or the business. They're just like you said, a different human being that thinks and feels and operates in a different manner. The likelihood of two people that come together for, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40 years always agreeing on something is none. So their ability to compromise, communicate, and effectively value each other's strengths and weaknesses is huge. Um, so I really commend you guys on that. You guys have been doing amazing work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you guys made all the difference, honestly. So thank
Oh,
you.
thanks. I appreciate that.
Of course. I mean it, definitely.
Awesome. Well, so are there anything else that you want to share? Like I don't want to take you away from your daughter. You said that you kind of got the day off, so I want to,
Oh yeah.
maximize that for you.
She's at school for
Um,
the next couple hours, so that's good. But definitely. Then I gotta go get her. School conference time. So
those are always fun. Those are fun. As long as they're not like a biter or like, a big problem, I think you're golden.
yeah, she likes to test the teachers the first week, but I think I was the same way. So you gotta check your authority first. Can I trust you?
Exactly. Well, I think we do that with everybody, right?
hmm
That's awesome. So, any parting words before we come to a conclusion? And again, I really appreciate you sharing your experience with us.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, and see, I should have rehearsed. Right? I didn't even think about it. Honestly, all I have to say is to whoever listens to this, don't hesitate to get a hold of these guys. Okay, Mike and Natalie have absolutely changed our lives, and they did in a way allow. It's not like I needed permission, but Mike made me feel comfortable and made Thomas feel comfortable that we can be ourselves. And I've struggled with that for years. I've had mentorship in the past. I was involved in a couple different things when I was younger. And so I learned how to dress, nicely, suit and tie, nice dress, and you go to these events and you exude this I am professional attitude, right? And so I learned a lot from being there. I learned a ton, like books to read, things like that. I'm working on a book right now called Crucial Accountability. It's a really, really good book. You guys should check it out. Let's see where the author is. I'll have to find it in a second. I can't remember the author, but it's called Crucial Accountability. But coming to the event, and he's just this goofy guy. And Natalie, you were just doing your thing. And I'm like, man, I can be who I am and I don't have to be afraid of myself because that's what happened. I would go, okay, I'm with this person, so I've got to change, like a chameleon, I got to change my color to kind of adapt with them. And there's a level of that. You have to, if you can't be screaming at somebody who can't, talk loud. You got to kind of meet them where they're at in that sense, but don't be afraid to be yourself. You are awesome. Just continue to grow and be yourself every day and strive for greatness, but you'll never be perfect. Don't ever try to be perfect. Just be you. And it's good enough. So that's what I have to say. Thank you, Natalie, so much for this. I mean, this means everything to me, honestly. Thank you.